It's all change in the summer garden, and as earlier crops finish, gaps are beginning to appear. If we want to keep the party going, we need to replant, and in this video I'll be sharing lots of ideas of what to plant now so we can look forward to plenty more harvests to come. With weeks and weeks of uncharacteristically unbroken sunshine, these shallots here have really powered along, and as you can see, they're now ready to harvest. Absolutely beautiful. That's not bad, that is, all of that from this one bed here. And with the ground now vacated, I've got these tiny plants to plant, and these are cauliflowers. And if we pop on over here for a minute, I can show you exactly what we're aiming for. Now, this cauliflower is called all year round, and it's an appropriate name for it because it can be sown in spring and then again in autumn to give lovely heads of cauliflower from spring right through to the end of autumn. Look at that. Here we go. That's a pretty impressive looking cauliflower, I reckon. This little lot was sown about 5 weeks ago and should give us a harvest before the end of this growing season. So I've cleared the crop, obviously, and you can see all the old detritus here. I'm just going to leave that, that's fine. That will just rot down and add to the organic matter of the soil. But I am going to add a little, about an inch layer or a couple of centimetres of this kind of really, really well rotted manure here, just to kind of freshen everything up. And then that will be great for our cauliflowers to get their teeth into, or rather their roots. And I'm also going to add just another sprinkling of bloodfish and bone. One sec. Just going to put it in the positions where the plants are going. I've got 6 of them, so 6 little patches like that. Now to plant. Well, I've all finished to give them a good drink in, and then I'm going to protect them because my last cauliflower crop we've just seen have survived the cabbage white butterflies or cabbage worms because the first generation is only kind of out and about now. This lot are prime target, so I absolutely must cover them. So I've got this little net cage here. You could just improvise something, of course. Plops on over the bed like that. Make sure the plants are nowhere near the edges so the butterflies can lay their eggs through, and then just peg it down like that. Garlic here lasts for many months, and it's great to be able to bring in a lovely haul of bulbs, safe in the knowledge that they will keep me in beautifully pungent cloves right the way through the winter, if I can resist them, that is. They are so delicious, fresh from the garden like this. Look at that whopper. Ooh. That should keep the vampires away. So with the area now cleared, I've got 2 things to plant. I've got this beautiful black Tuscan or Cavolo Nero kale, a real sort of winter staple. That will keep us in leaves from kind of late summer all the way through to kind of next spring. And this here, some bulb fennel or Florence fennel. And I've got room for about 6 plants here. These will become gnarled old beasts that will last throughout the winter. But first, actually, I've got to just add some organic matter to the soil. I'm going for some more well-rotted manure again because brassicas love that, so let's get that over. This should be enough, I think, for the kale, so I'm not going to add any bone meal or bloodfish and bone meal. This stuff here, beautiful. And I've got a little nasturtium hanging on in the side there, so that'll be adding a splash of colour in another week or 2 as well. Right, let's get them in. Just like the cauliflowers, these guys will need protecting from the pigeons and the butterflies at this time of year. So I'm also going to cover these up in a netting cloche as well. I must say, I love how beautiful these are looking already, and they're just still quite young. These were sown about 4 to 5 weeks ago, and you should be able to find these widely available. It's probably just about time to sow them now though, so if you can't find them, get on and sow them quick. I love this feathery foliage of fennel. It's just so stunning, and it's actually worth growing for this alone. It adds a real sort of texture to the vegetable garden. Now, fennel is great for growing in the summer. It's less likely to bolt if it's planted kind of after midsummer, and that warmth will really power along that growth. It loves it kind of warm. However, it also likes it quite moist, the soil. So this is one crop that it's worth keeping well watered. And in front of me here, I've got some lettuces I sowed earlier, which will also like it nice and moist. So these are quite well in the bed together. These are an early variety of potato, and as you can see from the foliage, which is looking a bit tired, it's probably a good time to lift them up. And there are a few potatoes just coming to the surface that look absolutely gorgeous. So let's get these beauties up. Another one. It's a bit like sort of playing in a sand pit, this, isn't it? And that's what we got from one bed. That's, I don't know, several pounds at least. I've added a bit of compost and bloodfish and bone to the cleared bed, and now I'm going to go in with these guys, cucumbers. Now, cucumbers can be sown pretty much any time up to midsummer here at least, and if you're in a warmer climate, much later than that. And with the summer we're having at the moment, I reckon we could even sow them. However, these were sown about a month ago. I've grown them on, and as you can see, they're really itching to get out. I'm going to grow them in a sort of TP style, like I've got my sweet peas here. So first, let's get those in, and then we'll plant our cucumbers. I'm going to bring the canes together at the top and then just secure it with a few rounds of sturdy garden twine like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sort of lattice work like I've got with the trellis to my right here, your left. Right, let's get these guys in then. The cucumbers are going to be trained and grow upwards, and I got this space at the front, so I thought I'd add a splash of colour with some African marigold plants, and these were used for our recent video, by the way, on marigolds, which I will link to in the description. Chard is surprisingly drought tolerant, and it lasts for so long, almost a year. But as you can see, these guys have well and truly bolted, and there isn't much left in the way of usable leaves, so let's get them out. The soil here after those chard is really dust dry, so I've added more compost on top, and I'm also going to add some potato fertiliser because that's what we're growing next. So this is an organic potato fertiliser, sprinkle of that, and it will get sort of dug in as we plant our potatoes. Now at this time of year you can plant what are called second cropping potatoes. Those are potatoes kept in cold store and then made available from midsummer to plant for a crop towards the end of the season. These guys I've actually kept in a kind of bright windowsill, not in direct sunlight, to see if I can hold them over. I've done this before. These were actually bought in the spring, and you can see they've got these lovely sprouts or chits on them. I think they're going to grow really well. With sprouts like that, they're going to be off and away in a matter of days, and I expect to see them popping up within maybe 10 days or so. So I'm going to go there a little bit closer. I'm going to put 9 in here, and they're just over, a little over 1 foot apart. And these are an early variety, so they're quite quick growing. So these should be ready, well, in maybe 2 months' time, especially with this warmth, but I will need to keep them well watered. Because the soil is so dry, I'm going to give this a really thorough watering. 2 cans, oops, and then I'll come back and fill them up and go again. Who doesn't love broccoli? Well, I've had plenty of heads from here, and there's just 2 more left. So beginning to kind of open out and blow a little bit. There's a little harvest spider there. I'm going to make a soup with these. They'll be delicious. But once these are cleared, we can plant a true winter staple, leeks. So here are my leeks, and these are actually multi-sown leeks. So I sowed them in a little cluster of seeds in plug trays and then potted them on into pots because I had the ground full here. So you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 leeks there. Some have 2, some have sort of 5, but an average of 4 or 5 leeks. And I'm going to set them about 25 centimetres, which is 10 inches apart in both directions, so in a kind of block formation. I got these little anisum here, so I'll plant them this side of those. And yeah, Now, planting them like this won't give you as much of a white shaft as you get when you sort of plant them a bit deeper individually, but I don't care because the green bit tastes just as good. And this is kind of easier in a way because I've been able to keep these ticking over in the greenhouse until I'm ready to plant. And look at them, they just look so vibrant already. Chopped to pieces with these guys. Doesn't that look beautiful all planted? Now I'm going to put a cover over these guys as well, not because of butterflies or even the pigeons, but because of my dog Rosie. She seems to have a real delectation for these type of leeks, so I'm going to cover them. I don't think leeks are good for dogs either, so best to keep them covered. Let's just check in with the plan of my garden on the garden planner here. Now, as you can see, this is the garden in June, just before we took all the old plants. And if I change the timeline here to show it in July, you can see all the new crops we planted, the potatoes, the leeks, the kale, and so on. So this is the new garden that's gone in. You can try the garden planner for yourself by following the link or QR code over here. The 7-day trial is completely free and you won't have to put in any payment details or anything like that. Keep on sowing and planting, folks, and I will catch you next time.